who is in charge of you.
Yeah, let's talk about Scarface. Original Scarface.
This is
I feel like 80s Scarface is one of those movies that I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't know that it's a remake or don't think of it as such.
mm-hmm.
Like a lot of 80s remakes, like The Fly or The Thing, that it's like the remake is so much more famous and well known than the original that it has kind of like supplanted it in culture.
Right.
And having seen neither of them before this, I kind of just watched this as a movie, and it didn't. But similar to The Mummy, there was like kind of more things, even though I haven't seen the De Palma Scarface, there's like more Scarface stuff in this than I thought there would be.
There's a guy with a scar on his face, first off.
Sure, yeah. But even beyond that, there was like, there's more to it. I thought that would be it. I thought that would be like the only, it's like, it's about a guy who's a criminal, but there is more.
Yeah, I don't really know pretty much anything at all about the 80s Scarface. So I was also watching this without too much of that context.
I mean, and they're both based on a book. So I think the 80s one takes a lot of stuff in the book that it wasn't used in this movie. So,
But this is about a guy named Tony
Camonte.
Tony Camonte, who is a thinly veiled Al Capone.
Yeah. Down to having the nickname Scarface, which comes from Capone. And this is a Howard Hawks picture. I think the first Howard Hawks movie that we've watched.
I believe so. Yes.
And this is also produced by Howard Hughes. This is kind of one of the other big Howard Hughes pictures.
Yeah, and Howard Hughes like making these movies that really push boundaries.
Right.
This is one of the more extreme pre-code movies that we've seen.
Like Hell's Angels is a like cranked up schlocky version of Wings. Mm-hmm. This is like a cranked up schlocky version of a different William Willerman movie, Public Enemy.
This is like it's got like a lot of striking violence in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Including like stuff that they were like, we are going to show this, but we're just going to show the shadows doing this so that we can get away with even more violence, basically.
Right, but I feel like the other gangster movies that we watched last episode were like have a lot of murder in them, but they're like very artfully presented, where it's like it's happening off screen, or like we just see the aftermath of it, or what have you. Whereas this movie is like, no, we're gonna show you so many people getting shot by Tommy guns that you'll be sick of it by the end.
This movie is like gritty. It's like you feel kind of on edge watching this movie. I think I found it very effective. And like it's a little, there are aspects of it that are fairly cliche, but like I think that like there's this tension that goes through the whole movie that comes from the kind of extremity of it, which I found very, very affecting.
Yeah, Howard Hughes did hire Howard Hawks to direct this movie, even after Howard Hawks had previously sued him because Howard Hawks had directed a movie called The Dawn Patrol. Howard Hughes sued Howard Hawks because Howard Hawks made a movie called The Dawn Patrol, which Hughes said was a ripoff of Hell's Angels, which is pretty rich because Hell's Angels is very much a ripoff of Wings. A lot of Howards throwing shade around.
Too many old timey first names.
Yeah. And this is kind of loosely based on a novel that itself was kind of loosely based on Al Capone. In the book, it follows Tony and his brother, who's a cop, and like both of their kind of like rise to powers in their respective, groups. It cuts all that out. But according to the screenwriter, Ben Hecht, Capone sent some hatchet men to his house in LA to make sure the movie wasn't based on him, which I find that might not be true. That's just a thing that he said, but that also sounds like something Al Capone would do. So
this movie is definitely it has an interesting relationship with gangsters. as a film.
Mm.
It opens with some text that is quite a thing. It says, "This picture is an indictment of gang rule in America and of the callous indifference of the government to this constantly increasing menace to our safety and our liberty. Every incident in this picture is a reproduction of an actual occurrence, and the purpose of this picture is to demand of the government, what are you going to do about it? The government is your government. What are you going to do about it?"
Pointing the finger right at the audience.
Yeah, which, it feels like very much like it's trying to have its cake and eat it too.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the thing that was added late to be like, we gotta have something in here just to be like, don't actually be a gangster, please. This is bad.
Right. Like, this movie is very... I think even more than Public Enemy and Little Caesar, it is glorifying gangsters. It is saying they are cool guys who have fun and do cool stuff.
I mean, I think it has kind of a less kind of it has a similar structure to those movies in that it is a kind of like rise and fall of this guy, right? Like, he's like moving up through the ranks, and then he like takes over, and then things end horribly for him.
It's got a lot of similar plot beats to both of those movies.
But it feels schlockier than those two, for sure. It feels kind of more overblown and pulpy, and it's like way more violent and way more kind of romantic in the sort of old-timey sense of the word, or it feels like it's kind of fetishizing gangsters a bit more than those movies were.
Yeah, and, along the lines of the opening, which does feel like it is at odds with the rest of the movie, there is a really random scene in the middle of the movie where...
Oh, yeah, that was definitely added late. I read that. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they, like, went back and shot that after the rest of the thing. And be like, no, Howard Hughes, you have to put something in there to be like, saying that this is bad.
But yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like this crawl at the it's not crawl, but like these titles at the beginning of the movie and that scene in the middle of the movie very much feel like they are not the same as the rest of the movie,
right? Yeah.
Which they aren't, right? Because the rest of the movie is like, this is a cool guy and being a gangster is fun, and and then this stuff is, being a gangster is bad. What are you going to do about it? But there's a scene in the middle of the movie where there are some politicians who are telling the journalists, this is like very, very metatextually commenting on the movie itself.
No characters from the rest of the movie, and none of these characters appear in any of their scenes. It's like completely its own thing. Yeah. So
ridiculous. There are some like politically influencing people talking to a journalist, and they're saying that that they're glorifying the gangster by giving him all of this publicity. And the journalist says, "You think you can get rid of the gangster by ignoring him, keeping him off the front page? You're playing right into his hands." Citation needed. Show him up, run him out of the country. That'll keep him out of the front page. And he's like talking, he's like literally addressing the camera when he says this. Like the people are behind the camera and he looks right into the lens when he is like he's saying, it's okay for me, the journalist, to do all of this stuff that is depicting gangsters being cool. AKA me, the director, do all of this stuff depicting gangsters being cool. Because people should be catching them and deporting them is specifically what they're saying. Literally, they say, like, put teeth in the Deportation Act. And, like, these gangsters don't belong in this country. Half of them aren't even citizens. So, like, yeah, very much like, we're going to keep making a movie that is glorifying gangsters. And if you care about this, then deport Italians and pass a law, quote, that puts the gun in the same class as drugs and white slavery.
Jeepus. Yeah. I mean, it makes me think about like the context this movie came out in a bit. Like, I think that scene is garbage, but I guess 32 was like kind of prime, like, gangster violence in America, like Prohibition era gangster violence. I mean, where it was like, yeah, that's like when like a lot of, or I guess it was more like late 20s into early 30s. But so yeah, I'm curious how much this felt like this was like a very relevant, pressing issue for most of the audience for this movie, where it did really feel like they had to kind of like take a stance like that on it.
I don't like this movie does not care about
That's
issues,
the thing. Like the movie itself doesn't. The movie itself is so just like popcorn. Like, look at this guy, do crazy stuff. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I think this movie is honestly like. So I get a lot of flack for this criticism that I have of Martin Scorsese a lot of the time, which is that his movies do this a bit. Sometimes they are more nuanced than this movie, certainly. Mm-hmm. But I think that people are dumb and they watch Scorsese movies and they go, "Oh, cool guy,"
Well, I think, yeah, it's true. And I think it's funny to watch recent Scorsese movies, Killers of the Flower Moon included within that, where it feels like Scorsese also knows that and is like going out of his way to be like, no, they are not cool. They're shitty. Do not think these people are cool.
Right.
Because that's like the whole point of The Irishman is like 3.5 hours of like, this guy is miserable. He is an empty, hollow shell of a man because of the choices he has made. And a thing that Killers of the Flower Moon does, that this movie also does, kind of maybe less knowingly, is its main character is kind of an idiot. Mm-hmm. Is like just a big dumb guy who is like can only kind of understand like money and like material objects as value. Mm-hmm. And yeah, because I mean that's my impression of actual Al Capone was like he wasn't like a smart guy. He was like kind of dumb, but people did what he told them to do. So it was like, so he ended up with a lot of money and influence. But Tony in this movie is like not presented as like a sharp guy, I mean,
I don't know if he's specifically presented as a dumb guy, but
I kind of took it that way. Like he's presented as just like, hey, I'm a gangster guy. I want to shoot guns. And it's like, all right, cool, man. Like I feel like both Little Caesar and whoever the Public Enemy's character his name was, both those characters feel like they have like real intent behind everything they do, and they're like really trying to like plan out their like ascent through like organized crime. Mm-hmm. Whereas Tony is just kind of murdering everyone around him until he gets promoted.
Right. Yeah. It's more vibes.
Yeah.
less thought. I will say, I think like we're talking pretty negatively about this movie as like this kind of like schlocky, not well thought out thing. But
it has some amazing scenes in it. Like,
yeah,
the opening scene for one is like incredible.
Well, what opening?
The
scene?
whole like long oneer going through the like aftermath of the party with all the streamers, and then you see the guy walking in, and then you see the shadow come in and shoot him. It's all one shot.
This movie is so stylish.
Yeah,
it's honestly like one of the best looking movies of the sound era that we've seen so far. There's a part which I thought was so inspired, where they're doing the kind of like tearing the calendar pages off thing to show time moving, but they do it by like having like a gun superimposed off it, so like a machine gun, so with every shot like a new page tears off.
It's a double exposure of a Tommy gun shooting and then like a bunch of pages coming off the calendar.
It's so good.
It is. I was just talking about that shot with another friend of mine who was like, I was saying, I'm going to watch Scarface soon. I was like, look, there's a calendar bit in that is great. And so like when that happened, I was like, oh yes, there it is. It's so good.
But it's not even just that. It's like the camera moves around in this a lot more than other stuff we've seen of this era. I feel like this, to me, honestly, feels like the first the first sound movie that has felt like it is completely unencumbered by sound technology.
Yeah.
Like they are just making a movie and they are doing a good job with it. They're making very good choices, like filmmaking wise, I think. Another thing that I noticed with this is that it has a lot of a more modern amount of like chest up medium shots in it. And it got me thinking about like the sort of differences in demands of the silent medium and the sound medium, and how in the sound medium, most of the emoting and acting is happening with the face and the hands, right? Where in silent acting, like you're using the whole body a lot more, which kind of explains a lot more of those like much more pulled back shots in a lot of silent movies. And this one has made the choice correctly, I think, to bring the camera in closer to, because more of the acting is just happening with words and
faces. Also, you can get a microphone closer to actors that way. That might have been part of it too. But yeah, I hadn't noticed that specifically, but now that you say it, I'm like, well, yeah, of course. Like,
right?
Yeah. I think both this and The Mummy feel like they feel kind of a notch ahead of the other talkies in terms of like the tools that they're using and like how well they're kind of incorporating all the techniques that have existed so far.
We get like a rear projection car part,
Love those.
Car driving part.
Always fun.
Yeah, we get like the camera moving in some cool ways. Like there are some shots of that are made to hide more violence than they want. These people getting lined up against a wall and shot in silhouette. But like also it's just cool, you know?
Which
like it's not even just
like an exact recreation of the St. Valentine's Day massacre, which Al Capone really did like mastermind. So that's a real kind of like pull from the headlines moment, because I think that happened in like 29. It was in our news segment. I don't remember. Another thing in that scene, and in I think not every scene where someone is killed, but almost every scene, there is an X somewhere in the frame. Like somewhere there's an X. And at a certain point, I started to notice that of like, oh, there's always an X. Like either an X like built into the set or like kind of lit on a wall somewhere.
Wow. Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, okay, that's like a fun little flourish or whatever. Like there's always an X when death happens. But then as the movie continues and like as it gets towards the end, I started seeing X's built into stuff and being like, oh shit, someone's gonna die soon.
Wow.
Even if they didn't in the same scene, like it then starts to like use that familiarity to like build anticipation, to be like, oh shit, I just saw an X on screen. I know someone's gonna die soon.
That's rad. Yeah, I mean that is what I'm talking about. Like, thematically maybe. Or like responsibility to society wise, this movie is maybe not so well thought out, but like as a movie, it is so well put together.
Howard Hawks, good director. Like it's kind of wild the amount of like more recent directors that I think are kind of probably more well known than Howard Hawks, that like cite him specifically as like the entire reason they wanted to make movies. John Carpenter especially is like he always goes back to this, like, I just wanted to make Howard Hawks stuff. Like that was like his biggest inspiration as a filmmaker. Which is, I don't know, it's cool now to like watch Howard Hawks movies and see what inspired so many other people. And it's like, yeah, he's good at it.
Yeah. This is another movie with Boris Karloff in it.
Yes.
Boris Karloff plays
in this one. Well, yeah, he talks in The Mummy too. You
get to hear like his. I don't know if he's trying to do an American accent and somewhat failing.
I don't think he is in either one of these. No, yeah, he's doing Boris Karloff voice.
Yeah,
which is English. Yeah,
yeah. He's so he's a kind of British-ish rival gangster who controls the north side. And there's all this back and forth about like, don't go into the north side. We gotta wait for our moment. And then he says, I'm Scarface. I'm gonna go into the north side.
Yeah.
But like another like amazingly stylish bit is while Tony is taking over, he in his sort of crowning moment of taking the entire city, he kills Boris Karloff, and while he's bowling, and so he like rolls the ball and then gets shot right as the ball leaves his hand, and so you see him bowl a strike, but there's one last pin that's like wavering and then falls down as he dies. So cool.
Yeah.
So stylish. So cool. Unbelievable.
A funny thing about Boris Karloff in this movie is that on the poster for this movie, he's credited as Boris Frankenstein Karloff. Like, that movie was so famous, even a year after it came out, that Boris Karloff was straight up getting credited as Frankenstein in other movies.
Wow. And not even Frankenstein's monster, too. It's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I did not look that closely at the poster, and that's hilarious.
Stylish, fun movie. Very influential, for sure. Right, the phrase "the world is yours," I know, is a thing that carries over into the remake.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal in this one. There's sort of a thing that reminded me of M also. There's like, during that opening one-er shot of murder, you hear whistling, and then later on you see, it's always kind of a mystery, like who did that at the beginning. It's like, it's probably the main character, right? And then later he whistles the same tune, kind of revealing to the audience that, yeah, same guy.
Very, very well put together